To celebrate 100,000 subscribers, I promised you guys that I'm gonna do a mega campaign, and well, here it is. We're starting with CK3, and we're gonna work our way to EU4, Victoria 2, and Hearts of Iron 4. More than 1,000 years of Paradox games, essentially. And I want to take this time to really thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for supporting the channel and for encouraging me to continue making what I love making. I really wouldn't be anywhere without all of your amazing support. So take this video as a token of my appreciation towards the best community that I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. Also, once we get 10,000 likes, I'm gonna release the second part, which is the EU4 part, 1444 to 1821. This is my first ever mega campaign, and I am gonna start as the Byzantines. I'm gonna roleplay the Byzantine Emperor himself, and I'm gonna start in the 1066 start date. We will be pushing back the Seljuks, and the goal for the first part, which is the CK3 part, before we switch on over to EU4, is gonna be to survive. We're not gonna expand too much. We're gonna be playing toll, consolidating our lands here, and making sure that Byzantium does not fall to the Turkish invaders. We're also gonna make our very own custom ruler. He is gonna be a fortune builder to help us with our playing toll adventures. Much like the real Ludi, he's also gonna be quite quick with the brain. And okay, this is not like the real Ludi, but he's gonna have a health boost, okay? I'm just compensating, really. We can only use up to 400 customizable points if we want to actually keep this an Iron Man save. We've assigned enough of the points. Let's start figuring out what our guy is gonna look like. I think I'm actually gonna make him a Roman, and I'm gonna be bringing back Latin as the official culture in the Byzantine Empire. Gonna make the dynasty of Historia, of course, as well. Oh, this has got to be the freakiest thing I've seen ever in character customization. I stand corrected. This is the freakiest thing I've ever seen. This just keeps getting better and better with each feature I see. Right, well, this guy looks exactly the way I do, so let's finish him off here. Looks to me like we're ready to start our adventure. Booyah shaka, boys, and holy mother of God, is that 20,000 Turks at my border? Click on the regal army, yes, yes. Before we actually get to war, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna choose stewardship because we want to have the greatest fiefdom in the land. We have 3 focuses we can go for. I think I'm actually gonna go for domain so I can actually have more fiefdoms at the same time. Cutting cornerstones is amazing. Look at this, 5% discount on basically everything. Miss Ikaterina, it's your lucky day. You're a low-born woman, but you got intelligent, and I want intelligent for my kids. Zoe over here is gregarious, brave, and just, as well as has a robust, and hates me because she's a racist and doesn't like foreign cultures. Perfect wife material right there. Let's send her a proposal that she cannot refuse, and let's check the situation in our empire as it is. Not endorsed by my patriarch. Looks like we gotta bribe the patriarch. Just casual, standard religious things, as with real life. Am I right? Hey, Orthodox gang? Did your grandma give the local priest half of her pension yet? Remind her to do so. Let's start a scheme where we actually get some relations with Mr. Gallus over here, our patriarch. We're gonna start our reign by promoting the Latin culture in Byzantium. Let's make the Roman Empire Roman again with the capital, and then moving on to the rest of the country. Well, whatever is going to be left after the Turkic invasions, at least. We're also going to be replacing some of our counselors because they're absolute trash. Look at this guy, 7 marshal. Really, bruh? Let's see who else has a better military skill. This guy's got great military skill, but we need to give Dux Romanos of Anatolikon a position in the council since it is one of his ambitions. Same thing for this guy. Only 5 diplomacy is pretty pathetic, so I'm going to change him up with Dux Nikephoros of Epirus because I want to keep the Greek dukes very much in check. So at least I make sure that the Greeks don't rebel, whilst the Anatolians doesn't matter much because I'm probably going to lose most of this land anyway. Wedding celebration. Well, that's going to help out. Thank you very much, Vizegolski. We only have 10,000 units, which is really not that many. Hopefully we manage to keep the Turks at bay at least a little bit. We likely will have to give away some of our lands to them, however. I'm first in line to inherit the Duchy of Thessaloniki, Thessaloniki. That is perfect actually, because I want the Duchy of Thessaloniki, since I can have up to 10 holdings now. Let's make sure we get a proper physician as well. Kira seems pretty well fit for that position. Time to take back our castles, boyos. We're not gonna let the Turks take this easily, will we? Just gotta make sure we stay away from a certain province named Manzikert. My tactic right now is basically to siege down their provinces whilst they're sieging down mine. The big fish is gonna be taking over the capital of the Seljuks. Then we can actually do a peace deal. Gonna take us 6 months to finish sieging this down, but I'm faithful that we'll do it. We managed to take the capital, and we took Sultan Al-Muzam Alp Arslan's son, Muhammad, as a hostage. We can use this to our advantage after we make a truce with them. Wondering how Mr. Alp Arslan is feeling right now. Ah, yes. Smart Byzantine vassals. Look at this. We're getting invaded by the Seljuks, and what do? They fight each other. Instead of fighting the Seljuks, they fight each other. Bruh. Oh boy, we got a pretty big battle happening here. I was trying to relieve the siege, and they're gonna absolutely slaughter me. They got double the amount of troops. Oh no, this is bad. This is really, really bad. I'm LARPing historical Byzantium. Alright, let's actually retreat out of there with whatever troops we got left. Well. Looks like the Turks are having some pretender problems. And you know what? I think I'm gonna give this one to the Turks. It doesn't affect me too much to just give them the eastern part of our empire. It does hurt a little bit losing all of this prestige, but nothing I can do about it, sadly. They have won the first engagement between our two civilizations. Feels bad, man. Feels very bad. We have been reduced basically to the historical Anatolian lands of the Byzantines. We will prevent them from getting into the rest of Anatolia, however, or at least try to. To make sure that we're ready for the next engagement, I'm actually going to have to increase the size of my armies and recruit some new men-at-arms regiments, actually. As well as increase the defenses in my own holdings, as well as the production buildings, so I get some more income to recruit some mercenaries as well for the next war. I think it's also time for us to go on a pilgrimage, everybody. Let's go for the churches of Constantinople. I mean, that's got to be the shortest pilgrimage ever, right? We live in Constantinople. I'm basically getting outside of the house. That's what's happening here. Oh, say what? I can ask for money from the head of the church. For once in my lifetime, I actually get something from the church. That is amazing right there. Hey, we got my first son here. Vespasian sounds like a great name. I'm also going to do my first holy war against the Lebanese in order to reconquer the Holy Land. Oh, what? I just inherited the Duchy of Ephesus and 2 other titles? Whoa! That is actually amazing. Where is Ephesus? Okay, here is Ephesus. We got 2 cities from Ephesus. I will invest some money in these cities. I don't mind. And we captured the leader of the enemy army, so that means we can enforce our demands. Daryago. That means we got the city of Tripolis as our 6th holding, so we can get even Beirut after. And declaration of war ski for the Duchy of Lebanon, which is their entire country. Noise, raise again, and let's go a second time to that area, shall we? Once more, another battle won, and that means we can enforce these demands also without even taking their capital. All we need to do is essentially capture the king. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoy playing CK3, much easier than EU4. Let's start converting these guys to our religion whilst we're at it. We also can get our first legacy, and I'm gonna go for the noble veins, which essentially means I got a higher chance of getting congenital traits, which are the good things, sometimes the bad things, but mostly the good things if you choose your wife properly, okay? And as expected, a faction to take over the empire from within has started. They're all actually loyal, but they still want to screw me over, because why not? Am I right? Good old Byzantine style, and pretty much the only reason this empire collapsed overall. Let's hope that we can actually imprison this guy. We got 76% chance, and if it works, then we don't need to fight a massive rebellion of pretty much everybody in the war. Nope, we gotta fight them. We got to fight them. Oh boy. Why can't we all just get along, guys? Why can we not just get along? The entire empire is once more at arms because of some nasty boyos who want to be the new emperor. I'm gonna do a lot of title revoking after this, my boys. First big battle of the Civil War. We should win this quite easily. We got like 4 times more troops than them. Essentially eventually a death stack right over here. If we're lucky, we catch this bastardo here in charge of their army. We didn't catch him, but it's all good. I just realized something extremely important. I actually did manage to imprison the leader of the faction against me, so if I execute him, theoretically, the faction should go away because they don't have a leader to install. Yep, it worked. It did work. I just got rid of the entire coalition against me, the entire civil war against me by killing this one dude. Wow. I feel like this is highly exploitable. Oh well, seems like we can get back to our business over here and improve our holding situation and expand the empire. I'm also gonna replace all of these bastards that rebelled against me, of course. Literally one day later, another faction arises to fight against me. Oh man, seriously, they really are not gonna stop, are they? I'm gonna have to execute everybody in the empire to keep them in line. Oh, I see. They're angry because I executed a family member. Komnenos, right. That is actually a pretty big family with 11 people having pretty good titles here. I might have made a mistake executing that guy. I'm getting a feeling that half of this playthrough is gonna be rebellions, essentially. So I've crushed about 4 rebellions as it is, and I'm gonna crush this one as well. Let's enforce our demands as such, imprisoning half of the empire. But guess what, guys? There's gonna be more rebellions. I'm already expecting it. So my plan now is to replace every single duke in the empire with my family members. Look at the amount of people I already have imprisoned. Most of these people are my vassals though. How many dukes we got here? And a prince? And what do you know? Another rebellion to install Nicephorus on the Byzantine throne. I swear, I'm actually feeling like I just want to abandon the empire myself and just reduce myself to the city of Constantinople. Let the rest of them fight it out for the remainder of this game. Since we have like a 5 seconds break between civil wars, let's continue our conquests in the Middle East. Oh, look at this. What a surprise, guys. We had 5 seconds without another civil war, didn't we? Skipping a few years ahead, we've dealt with about 20-something rebellions, but eventually they stopped coming because, well, my dungeons are basically full of various former dukes and so on, and I've replaced them with people that are actually loyal for once in their lifetime. My main guy here is about to die, however, and he is gonna be replaced by his heir, Vespasian of Crete. We're gonna recap what this guy did, however. Aside from stabilizing the empire, which was extremely hard to do, we've also managed to pretty much build everything we can build in our holdings right now, and we also managed to get direct control over the Thessalonican areas. So we have 6 holdings in the mainland of the Roman lands. And I say Roman lands because culture-wise, we've actually expanded the Roman culture to quite a few extra provinces. Eventually, we will make the entirety of the former Roman Empire Roman again. For that matter, we started a slow expansion into the Italian peninsula with a few footholds in the south for the time being. We managed to ward off the Seljuks, which apparently now are the Persian Empire. I do remember they started converting stuff to Oghuz, but I guess Persian managed to take over somehow. There are some strange things happening around here. We do have Prussia still alive. Poland is quite centralized. The French and the Holy Roman Empire are about as historical as they can get. Castile managed to get a massive foothold in Iberia and is pushing back the Islamic invaders right now. The Fatimids are ridiculously centralized and hard to defeat. I'm honestly quite surprised by the level of stability that these nations are having around the world at this point. I was expecting them to collapse more and more, but that's really not the case. Great Liao apparently also formed. I didn't notice this. This is basically a precursor to the Mongols, and it is a little bit scary because eventually we're gonna get the Mongol invasion. And as expected, I did away. The Emperor Ludi of the Byzantine Empire died at 68 years of age. He died of cancer. He was one of the best fighters of his age, just like real life Ludi, and he reigned for 50 years. Again, just like real life Ludi after I restored the Roman Empire. It's a joke. It's a joke, okay? I'm not gonna restore the Roman Empire. Continue as Imperator Vespasian II. Long live the new Imperator. My heir is a bit of a schnitzel fart. Look at this. He doesn't even like me. He desires a lot of duchies, and he's overall a really nasty boyo. At least he's got this. He's got the robust inherited trait from my current leader right here. But he's not my best choice. I might actually replace him. Looks like I need to get new counselors as well. And everybody literally hates me at this point. I need to fix this before I start getting another 500 rebellions. Well, what do you know? The first civil war of many more to come. I'm sensing a trend with playing the Byzantines altogether, man. We have essentially gone through quite a few generations of the Historia family, but finally the situation is properly stable. We don't have rebellions every 2 seconds, and everybody actually fears us because we have a bunch of dread. Actually, this was 100 after I basically imprisoned half the empire. Best way to raise this dread is to just simply torture people. Gonna give me a little bit of stress, but then I have other ways of lowering that stress. Looks like we can also ask the head of the church to give us some monies, and I've reduced the number of direct vassals that I have. This actually helped out so much with the rebellions. So I've made quite a few kings around the empire. Essentially, I have less dukes, and whenever they try to rebel, they rebel against their king, and as long as the king is loyal to me, everything is a-okay in my realm. We've also continued our expansion. We've taken more lands in Croatia, a little bit bigger of a foothold in the Italian lands, and we've also started going into the North African parts. Our vassals did a great job here. We've taken parts of the Seljuks out, and this is basically all my vassals doing. Whilst the Seljuks themselves have been destroyed from the inside after various rebellions. Oh my god, this guy is so ugly. Look at his face! Oh, yeah, there you go. He is ugly indeed. How about his son? His son is homely, which can be seen on his face as well. Jerusalem made its appearance as well, and just as soon as they made their appearance, they got crushed again by the Achaemenid Emirate. You know what? I'm actually going to declare on these guys. Oh, I don't have piety. I need more piety. Whilst we get our piety, let's declare a war against the City of Venice. This is our way of essentially preventing the Venetians from doing anything against us in the future. If you know what I'm talking about here. Payback before anything even happened, essentially. Oh, okay, that was actually ridiculously fast. We got 100% war score after we just fought a single battle. So we got the City of Venice directly under our personal control. You know what? I actually want to keep this in the family, so I'm going to give this out to my heir. There you go. Actually, I'm giving out to my grandchild, which is my heir, I guess. And we're also going to turn this into Roman culture. We've already done this to the southern parts. The Sicilian areas are fully Roman right now, and quite a little bit more of the Greek lands are Roman for that matter. Let's also start our pilgrimage as well. We're gonna go to Jerusalem this time, a proper pilgrimage, not just getting out of our house. And yes, you saw that properly. We're getting 85 ducats, 54 of these from actual domains. This is how you actually play toll, when you're getting 50 something ducats from your own domains and just a little bit from the rest of the church holdings and the vassals. It's also about time that we consolidate the northern parts of Africa with another little war, because we did that pilgrimage, so we did have the piety this time. Stop running away, you bastards. I need to catch you. Actually, I'm going to reinforce these boys here, since these are desert boyos, and desert boyos are pretty good at battle in the desert, you might have expected. But you can't do schnapple when you get fight against 20,000 professional Byzantine peasants, okay? And yet another war has been won. Let's enforce our demon. So we're gonna give these out to other Roman culture vassals from our family, of course. We're keeping it all in the family, essentially. There you go. My second son here, Caesar Crassus, can get all of this stuff. Let's also search for a new physician. And since we are in the Crusader mood, let's also get the south tip over here of Sardinia from these boys. Looks like we got a bit of a naval landing. That's not good for us because they got the advantage in that situation. We do have 3 times more troops, so we should still be able to win this. Hopefully we managed to capture their leader, so this war is basically insta-finished. We have a second army going to their capital and a third army sieging down their allies' capital. Oh boy, we're gonna be attacking them in mountains. That is not good, especially when I have debt as well. So they are gonna get the advantage again, but the reality is that in CK3 numbers do speak massively, and that's why I keep winning all of these battles. Hey, what do you know, boys? We got Sardinia over here. I'm gonna grant Sardinia to my nephew as well. well. So my nephew essentially now has a lot of Italian land, and what this means is that eventually after I become my nephew, I'm gonna have these Italian lands directly, since I do plan on abandoning this area mainly and just holding out into the Italian lands and turning that into Roman culture. It's also that time of the year where we execute all of our prisoners in order to get some more dread. So let's do that right now actually. Sheikh Teflifawith is our next target, a Babayo, and 100 dread, which essentially means no one's gonna ever rebel because they're scared schnapperless of us. It's also time to lose some weight because we are obese, so I'm clearly role-playing real-life Ludi. So this guy I don't have to execute, but I will do it anyway. This game is turning me into a monster! At last, the Patriarchate of Alexandria is back in Orthodox hands also, and guess what? My family member is gonna own this as well. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that I'm gonna give it to my own family again? And for that matter, I'm also gonna focus on making Alexandria Roman again. Good thing we have an unlimited supply of heretics to execute, and as such, keep our dread up high, don't we? Rise of the Mongols. Okay, this is gonna be very interesting, let's say. Where are the Mongols, though? I don't see them anywhere. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. They just start with one single province. No way. 30,000 units in that one province. Oh my god, wow. Whilst we wait for the Mongols to get here, we're gonna be expanding and getting some nice pretty borders. I just managed to get a hold of Croatia, which essentially means I got all the Balkan holdings I ever need. Now I just gotta focus on the rest of the African parts, and afterwards a big ass war against the Italians, because the papacy, for example, has a massive army, 8,000 of their own, plus probably another 20,000 from their allies. In just a few years, the Mongolians have massively expanded from one province to the entirety of this area, and me, I got a disease and I'm gonna die soon, so I got that going for me. At least during this guy's reign, we've definitely consolidated the empire a lot more, and for once in our lifetime, most of our vassals are actually very loyal, and I haven't had any rebellions during this guy's reign. Oh, what? I managed to get rid of the smallpox and I'm now immune to it? I'm gonna take advantage of this and I'm gonna use this guy to super consolidate the Roman Empire. So apparently the Papal States lost control over Benevento, which is basically a Swedish buffet for me, or better yet, an Italian buffet, let's call it. We can now found a holy order, and I'm gonna do that in the province of Flavium, which is right next to my capital over here. Let this be the birthplace of the Ludian Teutonic Knights, or Ludian Knights, better yet, I guess. Oh, that's so cool. You can see here Grandmaster Victorinus of the Brotherhood of the Holy Sepulchre. Can I rename them? I think it's also high time that we pass the Absolute Crown Authority, which basically limits our vassals massively. They will not be able to declare wars on any adjacent nations without our permission. So it kind of limits our expansion in a way, because we're the only ones who can expand outside of the empire. But at the same time, it gives us a lot of bonuses, and it also gives us the ability to designate who we want to be our heir, rather than having to go with the first male born of the family. We got a bit of good news. The Khan is dead, but his empire is still absolutely massive. I mean, look at this bad over here, and they're still expanding like crazy, man. They now have up to 30,000 special units and 44,000 units overall. So my plan is to actually keep them alive, because once we switch this over to EU4, since this is a mega campaign, I need an enemy. That will be a challenge, and I think that the Mongols are going to be a challenge once we do switch over to EU4. Our empire is looking more and more unified. No more rebellions at all. We have a ton of money. I don't even know what to do with it, because I've upgraded to maximum all of my holdings buildings, and we have most of the Italian parts. I just need to get the papal lands, and I need to get some claims on Tuscany, as well as the Holy Roman Emperor, and then we can actually restore the Roman Empire. There you go, just 3 provinces left: Genoa, Romagna, and Latium, and I need to be the living legend before I can click this amazing button. It's time, guys. It's time that we actually take back the city of Rome. We got our claims. Let's start this war. It's not gonna be easy, but we already have most of the Italian peninsula, so we should have a fairly strong enough army. They only have about 15,000, but I highly suspect that they're gonna start getting mercenaries. Let's engage their troops here so we can wipe them out, and then we can just carpet siege the rest of their country. There you go. I knew it. They started hiring a ton of mercenaries as expected, but your mercenaries not gonna save you, Popio. I got more troops than you can even hire mercenaries. Let's wipe out these mercenary band as well. Nice. Mike, they actually hired 20,000 more troops. What? And they're trying to relieve the siege of Rome. Let's meet them up. We won that, boys. We won it. I'll be honest, fighting against the Papal States is probably the hardest war I've ever had to do. They keep hiring mercenaries after mercs, man. Are you kidding me? We had to fight like, what, 100,000 troops just to get the city of Rome? Really now? Thank God we got insanely high amounts of Byzantine pesantos. Oh, wow. We actually get the Colosseum as the special building in Rome, and the Aurelian walls. That's so cool. And if you're wondering, this is how big the Mongolians are. They've started crumbling a little bit though. Well, this is a little bit awkward, but we're a Uman now. Since we didn't have any male heir, we had to give the emperorship to one of our daughters. But not to worry, we're still ready for the big Arsever to take the city of Ravenna. We have to fight the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Considering how big the HRE is, this is gonna take quite a while, and I'm gonna lose a lot of troops in the process for sure. Oh, would you look at that? We actually can start the first university in the world, and we get a special building slot for university, as well as we get the scholar nickname since we are the first to invent universities, okay? Oh wow, the mighty Mongol Empire has collapsed, and we now have a ton of different countries. Golden Horde, Chagatai, Mongolia. Well, at least this is kind of historical, right? This is basically what happened. Sadly, they didn't even reach my lands. I was quite excited to get invaded by the Mongolians, which is a weird thing to say, but it is not the weirdest thing you'd expect from a map game. Holy mother of God, it actually took me over 10,000 ducats in order to get my demands enforced, and that's just for the one city of Ravenna. I gotta take the rest of this as well afterwards. I think I need a new plan in this situation. I might try and bankrupt the HRE. This way, they're gonna break apart, and once they're broken apart, it's gonna be easier to take them off one by one. Quite a few years later, we've actually stabilized the empire massively. The eastern part of the empire has been secured. We've actually set our close family members by the borders here and have started converting them to Latin, or better yet, Roman culture. We've done the same pretty much everywhere, and in the Italian peninsula, we just need to do a few more wars, and I need to become a living legend in order to restore the Roman Empire. Only one city in Romagna and a few in Genoa left as well. The Portuguese have completely crushed the Castilians and are dominating the Iberian Peninsula. They've brought back Christianity to most of the peninsula as well, and they even have parts of Morocco, surprisingly. The Mongolians have completely collapsed on the other hand, with literally nothing left of their empire, and most of the Tengri provinces are seriously disunited and are falling prey to the Maturidi, which I assume is one of the Islamic religions. Am I wrong? Orthodoxy, however, is definitely ruling the central part of the map. I have left Jerusalem alive, and I don't want to destroy them, but I might take a few provinces from them and just let them keep the one province here. And yes, we're getting 165 monthly income. A lot of it, however, now is from our vassals, as we've pretty much maxed out the amount of buildings that we can get in our current holdings. Quite a few years later, we have everything we need to restore the Roman Empire. We got all of the Italian peninsula, except some lands over here in Corsica. Let's just ignore that for now. And most importantly, we are a living legend, which means we can go to our decisions, click on the Restore the Roman Empire button. Dar Yago. We're now the glorious, and we got the trait Augustus since we are the rulers of the Roman Empire. Imperator Anatolius II, the glorious of the Roman Empire. It took us quite a while to do this, but I took my time, I didn't rush it, and most importantly, I focused mainly on my domains and on playing toll, since I've basically fully upgraded every single building that I have under my possession, as well as a lot of the buildings of my vassals for that matter. We can also make the county of Roma the new capital of the empire. As consequence, this city that is under our direct control is once more the greatest city in the world. We haven't made every single province Roman because honestly, honestly, it's taking a long time to actually convert stuff in CK3. Way slower than EU4 for that matter. But once we get on over to EU4, we're gonna make this empire fully Roman, culturally convert everything to the main culture of our nation. The great part about the restoring the empire is that we now have the special restore imperial province CB against basically the areas of the world that were historically a part of the Roman Empire. So we're really gonna take advantage of this special CB. So if you guys want to see this campaign continued, convert it to EU4. Once we reach 10,000 likes, we're gonna release the EU4 part of the mega campaign. And consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like these in the future. Also check out this awesome Brandenburg into German Empire borders by 1515. And I want to give a very big thank you to all of my channel members, Patreon members, as well as my Twitch supporters. I really wouldn't be able to do this without all of your support.